Alright, and we are back to Trakoria, Sulphur Svavel Winter, the role-playing game. And this time we have with us a whole bunch of agents working for powerful factions in the Empire, who just arrived in Majura, the island of. And why don't we introduce everyone? On my screen we just have a new nice overlay for this, designed by, of course, Hellhag Productions. Furthest to the left is in fact Josh.
Hey folks, I'm playing Erald de Mereld, and I'm, for all purposes, the Inquisition.
Indeed. And then we have Sin.
Yes, I am Cincinnatus, and I'm playing Lady Taralese da Bravaleti, who is a noble, if you could not guess by the title.
Mm-hmm. And then we have Rook.
I'm Rook. I will be playing Captain Malakai, a representative of Vemsica, the Pirate Queen.
Indeed. And last but certainly not least, Jess.
I'm Jessica. I'm playing Praanz da Kaelve, and I've apparently been called the Dirty Harry of the Secret Service. So we'll go with that.
In the pre-show discussions, we were talking about his particular skill set. So that's how the character was designed. And we will jump right into the action, I guess. I don't see why we should delay this jump into the story. It is the 14th of Misiska in the year 8 after the inauguration of the Chronolob. Misiska being the 4th month of the year, I think. And the sulfur convoy has just arrived in Amygdala Firth, the small fjord, if you will, right outside, where Arhem is, on the island of Majura. And we have two people who have just disembarked from the caravel, the Wave Dancer, namely the Inquisitor, Erald de Mereld, and his help, the big and burly Balan with the sword. And as well, Lady Taralese, who is just now sort of walking up along the pier together with, I believe it was Nin Halaska, wasn't it? You were pretty much getting buddies there, weren't you?
Yes, quite.
Yes. And you would have a servant who is taking care of your trunks, and you are making your way up to town. Behind the two of you, there is that archaeological expedition that you traveled with. They're still by the docks because clearly their crates and all their equipment have not been unloaded yet. But I don't see how that would bother you because, you know, you have your own business to attend to. And, yeah, so feel free to attend to that. What do you do as you move off the pier?
Well then, I suppose we have introductions to go and make, don't we?
Yes indeed. Nin will rifle through some of the luggage, bring out a couple of plate tablets indicating her position, and set off towards the garrison, basically. That's where the procurator probably would be, so why not? What is Erald doing while these ladies are marching off towards the garrison?
Erald would probably head towards, you know what, probably also would head towards the garrison. Just to stick with the same crew, I guess, that came off the ship, for lack of better
Very
terms.
well. You will
Until we
notice
can make adjustments here in Arhem.
It's a bit odd as you look kind of backwards. You can see all the busy work in the harbor. You can also note that apparently the entire archaeological expedition is right now lying down on the pier and putting their ear to the ground. Apparently it's something that druid girl told them to do. Eccentricities of, yeah. Anyhow, Trevinder de Homs has also disembarked, but is not going up towards the garrison, but rather towards the stone houses to the right. They are, or I should say, some of them. The first floor is stone, and the second floor is, for some of them, are wood, which seems to be the more expensive building material around here. There's not a whole lot of lumber around. And disappears into that cluster of buildings. There are merchant houses and whatnot over there, so apparently that's where Trevinder is going. Going up through, I mean, you can see from the map yourself, of course, it's not a long distance. We're talking about a couple of 100 meters at most to get up. It's a hill overlooking everything else. The North Hill is a bit higher, taller than the South Hill, but the South Hill does have the garrison, and the garrison walled, well fortified. You can see on top of the walls there are even ballistas. It's clear that the Trakorian Empire is not messing around with this outpost. It would take a lot to be able to conquer this, and there's even as many soldiers almost as locals. It's the walls around the garrison itself is something like 15 feet high. It's an earth wall with sharp stakes, basically sharp wooden palisade. And there's also a proper moat that is seriously deep. It's another 15 feet of a moat. So they have not messed about here. To get up there, you are crossing over the town square, one of them, I suppose. There's all sorts of people around here, mostly. I mean, you can detect the difference between how people dress here. Most people dressed with grays and browns, furs, leathers. They speak with a bit of an accent that sounds distinctly like that Ice Druid's accent. They must be locals. And then you have a much smaller group of people who are dressed in fineries, algae silk, nice jackets with patterns, pantaloons, or proper dresses. Probably Trakorians, Paratornans, very likely. And then you have so many soldiers or mercenaries, such like, dressed in simple tunics, maybe leather hauberk. Some soldiers have chainmail with the reddish Trakorian tabard over. They have sturdy cloaks. It's still chilly. It's spring here, yes, but you know, you're next to a glacier, so it's in the morning people will be chopping off the ice from buckets just to be able to get to the water, right? And that's the general atmosphere as it's very busy right now. Everybody who's anybody in the area has gone down towards the docks to see the convoy arrive. You can hear behind you jeers from soldiers standing on the shoreline, watching a new group of soldiers being rowed in a longboat to the shore. Clearly these soldiers who've been here for a while are very happy to be going home in a few weeks and absolutely taunting the new recruits or the new batch of people who have to, you know, spend a while here now out in the middle of nowhere. That's kind of the atmosphere as you're going up there. The wooden bridge leads you across into the garrison itself. lots of soldiers here, obviously. One or two people in very fine clothes. Some servants, of course, running around. There are no horses here. Not a single one. That's interesting. You are in the garrison. What do you do?
I guess first curious question then is, what is the beast of burden here?
You will notice maybe a few interesting critters you've never seen the like, I wouldn't think. Not on Pirate Queen, at least. Probably not Erald either. The wagons they have here, for the most part, are very interesting. It's like they have... It's a fairly short flatbed, if you will. Walled flatbed. With one axle. And that axle has no less than 3 wheels on each side. Like mounted, so 2 of the wheels are always on the ground and 1 is above. Very curious contraption. And when you see anyone driving with it up or down the slope, you will notice that it is pulled by a creature that looks kind of like a goat, at least in terms of the fur, but it has... The legs are going out on the sides, much like a lizard's. And instead of having hooves, it has opposable claws that it uses to grip into the earth very sturdily. And it's a very strong creature, too. It kind of snakes its way up slopes, regardless of whether there are roads or not. And as a wheel, those 2 wheels might get stuck on rocks, they flip over. So the next one comes down into the ground and keeps the cart going. Not fast at all, but it gets the job done over this difficult terrain. There are a few of those in some kind of stable up here. They need those kinds of beasts of burden around here. Other than that, mostly people seem to be carrying very, sturdy carrying frames.
Very interesting. You ever seen anything like that?
I have not, Nin says.
What about you? She'll call back to the trailing white ghosts behind them.
It's new for me too, and I've had my travels.
So, I'm curious, what business do you have up here? Or are you just coming to make introductions yourself?
Just to make introductions and formalities.
Interesting. Well, no time like the present. Might as well go in and see if we can get ourselves settled.
Indeed.
Take time to explore.
As you approach the actual main building of the garrison, stockhouse, if you will, there will be a servant, apparently, who's coming out there looking a bit confused, has a very nice beret, but it's really out of date by a couple of years, at least. And tried to do something with his mustache. They clearly don't have access to the latest ointments for proper beard treatment. Seems a bit stunned to see the 2 of you, in fact the 3 of you. My lady, sir, your, father,
Yes, it's all quite a shock.
We were not expecting a new exile.
Well, that's the thing with being put into exile. No one expects it.
And, looks at you, Erald, being quite confused, notices the color of your tunic and robes. Yes, I will announce. Who can I announce to the procurator?
I gesture towards the lady first.
She kind of straightens up. Lady Taralese da Bravaleti.
And Nin introduces herself. Nin Halaska of the Podarux, please. Presents the clay tablet.
Erald de Melda. And my assistant.
Of course.
What's his reaction hearing the Pod RX?
That's a good question. The eyebrows goes up a bit. Because
Okay.
that has significance. Oh my god, the IRS is here.
Yeah.
Yeah, he will go inside. It's gonna take a few minutes, no doubt. The procurator's hiding any incriminating documents or terrible
Is
secrets.
it snowing?
Exactly. So yes, you'll have to stand there and wait for a while. As you do that, you will hear. It doesn't take too long. I think it's going to be like 5 or 10 minutes of waiting by that time, which is probably too long in your opinion. When you hear, "Oh, I'm so happy to see you all!" And out of the garrison comes a lady who is trying her level best to be dressed in proper courtly attire, as far as you can do that here in the far north. She is, as you can see, very blonde, very sort of rosy cheeks, and in her middle age, certainly. And she will come up to at least the two of you, Taralese and Ninhalaska. She's completely ignoring Ninhalaska, by the way. She's just, her eyes are focused on Lady Taralese. "Oh, I am so pleased to see another person one can actually talk to here up in the wild. Oh dear, don't tell me that your husband has managed to get himself exiled from court as well. I can never... I mean, you understand, between me and you, Gotthard, he is some of the... If he can find his own body parts in the morning, I am surprised. You understand completely, right? Yes, of course you do. But at least we'll have the chance to commiserate, yes, dear?" And she's holding your hands at this point.
Oh, of course, dear. And I did bring some presents. I do have the latest fashion for the spring.
That's why you're dressed in such a weird way. That's great. You will not stick out at all in these parts. Actually, you will, but that's because the locals are complete barbarians. I am so thrilled. You have to tell me everything that's going on at court.
Oh, of course, dear, of course. There's so much juicy gossip. I mean, notwithstanding what happened with my husband, but you've been through that as well, I'm sure.
They are the worst. If they could even just keep their hands on 5 gold Trakines at once, that would be an achievement. But no, of course not. Was it gambling, dear? You can tell me.
Oh, it was more the drink.
Like the Emperor, then?
Yes. It's all rather unfortunate. Just lets gold slip through their fingers.
They
Just
are
rolled right away.
such wastrels.
Oh, I know. I mean, don't get me wrong. The Empress she's a very strange woman, but she does do her best. I mean, given what she has to work with.
Yes. It is our curse, is it not? Absolutely terrible, terrible, terrible people. The only thing those men are good for is fathering children, and only that, if we can grab their drink from them long enough for them to perform their duties. Oh well.
Erald kind of chuckles at that point.
See, that's what there's other remedies for that, though, darling. As I'm sure you've experimented with yourself. I mean, it looks like you've sampled many different types of methods and ways to be able to seduce a man.
One has to work with what one's got, I've always said. And
Yes, and you look like quite the handful.
yes, well, I'm afraid most gentlemen like a little bit more something to hold on to, but we'll fatten you up. Don't worry about that.
Oh, I'm sure you won't. But, in the meantime, I suppose we should be at least somewhat polite to the others here.
She's looking to both of them.
I know, darling, I know.
Whatever for. That is for my husband to deal with.
Well, you know we still need to do our duties then. Come, and she'll kind of link arms with her. Why don't you give... Well, you can show them where your husband is, and then you and I can go on a tour.
Of course. And off you go in there. Yes. I mean, judging from your eyes, it seems like... her name is Celicia, by the way. It seems like she probably has to have used this dress that she's wearing ever since she came here. It can't be easy to get Algia Silk up here.
You know, darling, I really must ask you how you learned to preserve your dress so well.
You can notice, I mean, she's been good at keeping her sort of face brave so far, but you are touching on a nerve. One has to be inventive, dear. One has to be inventive. You know what we have planned? We have planned, in fact, switching topics immediately, a wonderful masquerade ball. It's the highlight of the season every time. And she's kind of dragging everyone along into the actual stockade as she's walking. Every season when the convoy comes, we have a proper supper and feast because of all the new faces that come. So we have a chance to bring in anyone of significance in Arhem, which is a very small group. And you shall be a guest of honor, I'm sure. I'm sure we can find someone, and she sort of turns to Erald at this point. I'm sure we can find someone for you to speak to. Barú, is it? Master? Yes. Who is also interested in matters of faith. In fact, we have a local here, the Shagolite Malik Mangus. I'm sure you will get along famously. You're probably both interested in the same things and thus won't have time to interrupt our gossip. And she continues.
I apologize, Mikhail. What was the name again?
Malik
Shagolite-
Mangus.
Maluk Mongoose. Okay.
Yes. She will get you all into the actual main building, and certainly you see the Maître D, who was kind of the senescal, whatever we want to call him, the steward, who was the fellow with the mustaches. He's coming back at that point, and we'll have to run after Celicia as she's dragging you into the stockade and up to the upper floors of this building. And to a main hall, if you will. It's more like a main, well, conference room, maybe. A big table in the middle, lots of different chairs there. This is probably where the procurator meets people. Some papers and so on lying on a desk off to the side. The procurator himself is, in fact, there. He, looks like so. He is, well, short, must have been strong in his youth, but now most of the muscles have turned into other substances, shall we say, much as poor gentlemen have to experience with age, having expanded his waistline quite a bit. He is dressed in, well, it is high quality cloth. You'll give it that. Again, algae silk, even better than algae silk, but it's kind of wrinkled by now and not terribly well maintained. There are sort of little threads sticking out here and there. Yeah. He's sitting there with his hair. It's kind of not combed properly, grayish. And as Celicia is taking you into the room, "My dear," she says to him, "you didn't tell us to tell me that we should expect actual company of worth. As usual." He's looking at his wife, he's looking at you and the others. "Yes, dear," is all you get. "Well, I'll leave you to your business. Whenever you're done, we can speak more." Nope. Yeah.
I'm so used to push to talk. Oh, of course, dear, of course. Well, in the meantime, if you wanted to get started, where should I have my servant take my bags?
I'll see to it.
Okay, wonderful. Tell him the trunk with the brass fittings on it. That's where you'll find something that perhaps might interest you.
Ooh. She is very happy right now, that lady. The procurator himself will stand up, look all of you over. Right. Nin presents her clay tablet. Nin Halaskov the Poda Arux, here to do a complete audit of all the finances of the colony. He's looking at the clay tablet, he's looking at her. Of course. Feel free to roll to look at his emotional state at this point. Anyone who wants. I'm gonna roll his attempt to hide his emotions. Yeah, that wasn't the best roll I ever made. Anyone wants to try to read him?
Yeah, crash course on this again. Is it wind?
It can definitely be wind if you want it to be.
Okay.
So... yeah, you actually succeed, because he didn't roll a 6. Taralese, do you want to roll as well?
Just dead.
There you go. Oh, yeah, okay, so there was you, Sin, first, and then... Yeah, okay, sorry. I thought it was Josh rolling first, and then... Anyway. So, both of you will note that he is about as happy as someone who just stepped on a piece of Lego. Yeah. Yeah.
Big smile goes across his face.
Yeah, he is definitely not going to look forward to this. And there is a slight strain of trying to contain a panic attack. He's hiding something. That is very clear to both of you. Indeed. My lady Taralese da Bravaleti, what bestows us the honor?
Oh, you know, just thought I'd come and visit elsewhere. I'm sure you're familiar with it. It's not always the most pleasant journeys, though.
Indeed. Yes. Well, welcome to the rest of us exiles. We have about half a dozen other, or slightly more other, of our compatriots out here who, for various reasons, find the climate on Paratorna to be particularly ill-suited to their health right now. I am sure this weather will do wonders for your complexion.
Yes, I have heard getting garroted with your own purse strings is very bad for your health.
Barú, Erald, I presume?
Yes. I am here to visit the, I was quoted local barbarians.
Ah, yes. Spreading the good word of the gods, I understand. Then,
Of course.
I suppose. Well,
And here to pay my respects to yourself.
always a pleasure to have a member of your order here. Been a long time since, though. What can I tell you? We have a shrine to the local Kmorda druids. I'm sure you will get along famously. And of course, our own resident Shagolite, Master Malik Mangus, my wife, speaks to him all the time.
Excellent.
That should tell you everything you need to know about him. Yes, but otherwise, these gods-forsaken heathens, well, I'm sure you might try to civilize them, and I'm sure that it will be an exercise in frustration for you too.
I look forward to it.
Indeed. Now, Barú, if you will excuse us, I have to deal with the Podaruks on matters of national import, as it were. My lady, Taralese, did you need to be entertained in other ways? I'm sure my wife has a lot to tell you.
Oh no, I think we will be quite set for now. Thank you very much, though.
Welcome to Arhem. Now, and with that, the quick introduction and audience is done. He will... You are expected, clearly, to leave the room as he talks to Nin Halaska.
Yep.
Is the seneschal still there?
Yeah, standing by kind of the doorway there, and
She'll kind of walk past him. I believe you should be showing me where the lady is.
yes, of course, my lady. And you will also get rooms in the garrison there, Erald? In your case, the room in question is on the lower floor and a guest chamber that is slightly bigger than the cabin you had on the ship, which is about the size of a really big cupboard.
Awesome. Erald looks forward to spending lots of time here at the garrison.
Of course. So what will you devote this day to?
Taralese is mostly going to be gossiping, trading, kind of tit for tat of, oh, about, Lord Marek and that scandal he had, and and things like that. And then, but enough about that. What about what's going on here?
Indeed. Erald, what will you do during this day?
Erald will actually probably try and find that shrine that the procurator was actually referring to.
Excellent. I'll start with that then. It's not very hard to find the shrine. There are... you don't know the signatures for the Kmorda druids per se, but asking around a bit would probably make it very easy for you to find it. The locals, everybody here knows. And that journey will take you across. I'm going to put out your marker here so we see where everybody is. I'm assuming that you're walking around with your...
Definitely.
Yeah. Cause,
Yeah, Balan's definitely right there.
yeah, because otherwise that might be, yeah. Hashtag security, hashtag.
Yep. I want to beat people with my old quarterstaff.
So, yes, Balan will be with you, of course, and we'll have Taralese up in the court, of course. But it's not too hard for you to find the shrine, Erald. Asking around a little bit, and you will find it on the other side of the stone bridge in the middle of town. The river itself is absolutely stinky. It's basically yellow with sulfur and smells accordingly. The shape of the town, the demeanor, the atmosphere changes after going across the bridge. On the north side, it's mostly just locals really living. You have the grays, the browns, the muted sort of nature colors, the leathers, the furs, the woolens and linens. They're simpler folk. They do not have access to these type of opulence and wealth that's up at the garrison at all. The shrine itself is a small building, and yeah, you're standing in front of it, and I'm guessing you're knocking or something?
Yeah, that's exactly the case.
There's
Assuming
no
the door is
answer.
closed.
There is no answer at all.
Harold probably at that point would kind of look around, see if there's any locals there on the street to say when is normally the shrine open and where's the local priest or priestess.
Roll a water roll for me, please. If you want to, you can add, I should say that also, you can add a insight, so a fate die for your machinator.
Okay.
I noticed that you're low on fate dice, but there we are.
And there we are. So I'll roll that one separate.
Yeah. Oh, look at
And
that.
it pays off.
Excellent. That it did pay off indeed. The locals seem strangely muted when you ask them. They are treating you like a stranger, and they seem spooked. You're not sure, but you get a feeling, because you rolled a 6 and not just a 4, you get a feeling it's not... I mean, they're spooked by you as a stranger, but they're also spooked about the subject matter.
Okay. Yeah, at that point, Erald probably would make himself back to the other side of the river. Obviously, he's not wanted and not part of the new locals, so...
Indeed. Why don't we have Taralese roll a... Because I'm feeling this is you're doing some machinations here. You're getting some insights, aren't you?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. Feel free to spend the fate die.
Yeah, why not?
Look at that. That works. It's... Okay, I'm gonna have to... Because, of course, Silesia is, just as you, trying to find out everything about gossip and so on. And she is good at this stuff. So I'm gonna spend fate dice as well. So, we have a lot of fate dice in the chalice now, everybody. You need to... earn some new ones. I have a total of 5 for her. She knows her way around court. Oh, look at that. You find yourself spending the day trying to get her to reveal all sorts of secrets, and she manages to dodge a whole lot of those questions that you ask, while at the same time wringing out a whole lot of cool gossip that is going on in Trakoria. But most importantly, she is also spreading the gossip locally in a way that she wants to present it to you. She's definitely setting Taralese up for the big masquerade ball tomorrow.
Okay.
Prepping the ground, as it were.
So I guess, who has she been told she should be looking out for?
Taralese will have been told to... Let's see now. She would be... There's a couple of noble ladies in Arhem, another couple of Trakorians, who she obviously wants to flatten socially somehow. They have apparently competed with her for ideas of what the noble ladies should be doing. This is a whole mean girl club, basically. They have nothing to do. They're climbing the walls. And they're trying to outwit each other in terms of how do we keep ourselves busy and not getting bored out of our ears. And she's seeing you as a new natural ally and basically telling them that, telling Taralese that those other ladies are not as sophisticated as you are, and so on, and you know, be on your guard because I hear that they have, and so on and so forth. That is her angle on this.
And what exactly do you do for fun around here? Besides, you know, of course, the game of shadows, that is.
I wish there was a game of shadows here, she says. There is, frankly, almost nothing. But there will be soon. You see, we have a proper great big fish put aside for tomorrow night. Has been waiting now for this night because the convoy is late. I don't even know why. And my husband brought a horse to Marjura.
Really?
Yes.
That's quite impressive. I figured it would be glue after that trip we just had.
A combat-trained stallion, no less.
Oh, really?
The first horse in Marjura. He's looking forward to it very much. All he does is hunt.
So, what is there to hunt around here then?
Oh, there's bison. Well, polar bison. It's and there are, I don't know all those. It's horns. Sometimes he tries to catch a buzzard. Then there are elk and, well, all sorts of wild beasts. Nothing for civilized people to care.
Well, no, certainly not, but certainly prizes for him to get and mount on his walls to show that his servants are very good at hunting and he's very good at taking the killing blow.
Yes, quite. I think he has a collection in the main hall where we will have the feast. They
Very
stink so
interesting.
much when he drags them home. You know, the whole house reeks of it and we have to clean it out. It's terrible.
I mean, really, I'm surprised you can smell anything. This whole place just reeks of sulfur.
You kind of get used to it after all. It's one of those moments when she's more honest than she wanted to be. Erald, is there anything else you wanted to get done before the day is over?
No, I think if anything, he just basically make his way back to the garrison and try and make adjustments to call his little cupboard home for
Very
while
well.
he's here.
Then we can, in fact, advance the clock to the next morning. The morning of Vemsica 15th. No, it's not terrestrial race. I have the weather generator on, but it's false because, yeah. In this morning, it is that Another ship arrives to Arhem. Very unexpectedly, one has to say. I'm gonna say that the people in the garrison, you've basically woken up, you've had your breakfast, and then you hear the completely unexpected cry of sail sighted, ship ahoy. The guards, they're sort of ringing the bells and so on. It causes an awesome commotion in the castle as the Reaver's daughter approaches the port. And Captain Malakai and Praanz, you are, of course, on the ship. There are so many ships here now. You've just caught up with the convoy. Malakai will realize, looking over the bay, that you are mostly just a day behind. You've almost caught up with them entirely on your trip. There is a galbalon lying here. You have a hard time believing your eyes. A galbalon is one of the the biggest type of ship that exists in the Trakorian Navy. It's a behemoth, basically a floating fortress that all you do with it is park it outside a port and nothing will come in and out without that ship's permission. It can even mount a trebuchet. It's just beastly how big that thing is, and it takes hundreds and hundreds of soldiers aboard as well.
What the fuck
How
is one of
they
those
managed to
doing here?
get this thing all the way across the ocean up here is, I mean, oh my god. It must have slowed down the convoy considerably. And there's also a bunch of carracks, 3 or so, 4 caravels. I mean, you've been to bigger ports than this, obviously, but for being Arhem, the port is just chock full. Longboats go back and forth to the ports, to the piers all the time, offloading cargo and people. It's very busy, and there's a lot of people coming down towards the shoreline to watch this new caravel arriving, because you are clearly not expected.
And it's a fairly unusual looking ship. It's painted and dyed sails and odd streamers and a distinctive warhead. Jessica, you were saying something about the
Yeah, I said, what the hell is one of those things doing here?
someone's clearly trying to make an impression.
That just made my job a lot harder.
Bear with me a moment. I need to find us a place to dock. And Malakai would start looking over, trying to find some spit that he can fit into.
That's going to be hard. At this point, it's probably easier to just anchor out in the bay and send a longboat in. That's about the level of the traffic. There will be, as you're approaching, just before you're doing your final approach, the people on the galbalon will go, contact the Reaver's daughter. Oh, who goes there? This is the Trakorian Navy. Identify yourself, pirate. Because that's what your ship looks like.
In response, I'm assuming...
Would you like some assistance with this?
I think I have this one. I'm assuming since I do work contracts for the Trakorian military, I would have a Trakorian privateer flag.
Yes.
I would run it up the mast.
Yep, they will, you see them scramble a little bit at first to sort of man their catapults and ballistas and even the trebuchet, and then they see your flag coming up and then they go like, okay. You have a lot of very, very strange, like, people are looking at the Reaver's daughter and what the heck is that ship doing here? And then the various... unit commanders just order them to get back to work. Damn landlubbers! You're not paid. They're just there out on the sea and blah blah blah. And so you can proceed to the actual landing.
Do you need any rolls or anything?
Not really. No. This is a routine task for you guys, right? You
should be good at this.
Yes, exactly.
I'm just making sure. Since I can't get proper parking, what we will do is we will launch one of the longboats.
Yep.
I'm assuming Praanz would like to get ashore.
Yes.
Malakai will be going ashore. Be carrying a small regiment of 6 Marines. And Malakai's carrying a small chest.
Praanz just has whatever she took with her on the ship, which probably is light.
Yeah.
Minimal.
Yeah, it would be. The nun will also want to come with.
Yeah.
We will definitely make room for the nun. Before leaving the ship, an order was given that any crew member found in the port or in the city out of war paint will receive 5 lashes.
That order will be adhered to very strictly. Everybody is dressed in war paint, which will make the locals stare even harder. Like, there's a few soldiers by the docks, Trakorian soldiers, they will be like, what's that?
The first 2 that see me, they're looking at the war paint. Malakai basically does half of his face like a skull surrounding the milky dead eye. As soon as he sees them staring, he will look at them and give them a huge grin.
Which just makes it worse.
Praanz just keeps the like straight man face.
Yeah, you'll be able to disembark. The nun will look at both of you. I thank you very much indeed for conveying me all the way here. I will now take my leave, and I wish you that the gods will protect you on your way.
Fair winds, lass.
Certainly.
She strolls with, like, she has like this small knapsack over her shoulder and strolls slowly into town, looking around at things with a lot of curiosity. Where is, yeah, go ahead, Rook.
And about this time, Nicodemus, a very large crow, wings his way onto Malakai's shoulder.
Yep. And where is Praanz going on arrival?
To the... Just a second, I have to check the notes. To the inn.
Mm-hmm.
To speak with Hilda.
Ah.
Would the inn be in the direction that I am going?
Yes, but you're going further if you're going to the house that we spoke about earlier. Okay. What's going up in the garrison as you see this new ship arriving? You can basically stand on the walls and look down on the harbor from up top.
Taralese is kind of watching it and looking over those flags, just kind of drumming her fingers on the parapet there and just, Interesting.
Probably recognizing the flag and the
Yep.
ship, I would think.
Seems I need to make a trip into town at some point today.
That might very well be the case.
She'll go back in and start preparing herself for going into town.
Indeed. What about Erald?
Erald will definitely look out from the garrison and see the ship. At that point, I think probably there would be recognition of that boat.
Yeah.
And likewise, make his way back towards the garrison and tell Belan to get up and get ready.
Mm-hmm. So in other words, when the longboat is arriving by the pier and you're getting up to start making your way into Arhem proper, their captain and colonel, there will in fact be a reception committee consisting of a noble lady and an inquisitor.
Oh, good fun.
Yep.
Oh, you're that, oh, what was it? Praanz, wasn't it?
Yes, afternoon, madam. Sorry, what was the name again?
Taralese da Bravaleti.
That's a jest thing, not a prince thing. Yes, Madame de Bravi. Afternoon.
Well, good morning. It seems you've been sleeping below decks too much lately.
Yes, long journeys like that, you know how they can get you turned around.
Quite. I've heard
You
of
can
the sea
still
legs.
see, you would still probably see specks of blood on her clothing, as she hasn't had the opportunity to have her outfits cleaned yet.
My. Malakai, you've been busy, I see.
I am always busy, Lady Bravaleti. Did Lady Carolina join you in your bit of an adventure?
Not this time. She kind of gives him a look.
Unfortunate. Inquisitor! I see you have traveled without me.
Sorry, Captain. Different boat, different ship, same destination.
I understand. I normally get called out to ferry people quickly places, and with the size of the convoy, quickly was clearly not a concern.
No, it was a quick journey at the beginning, but definitely slowed down.
We had a pleasant journey. Only had to fend off one pirate attack. Very unfortunate business. For them.
I thought that was every day ending in, why?
I said only one, which makes it uncommon. Normally have at least two.
Well, you know what they say, double the trouble, double the fun.
What, pray tell, are you doing here?
Not here on any, of any volunteer on my part, let's put it that way.
Unfortunate. And you, Inquisitor? Heathens for the fire.
You're not slow for the update, Captain. Here to, yes, heathens for the fire. And I look off towards the northern part of the city.
Malakai would very intently follow his gaze. That's the old parts of the city. That's where all the locals live. Interesting.
Yeah, next to the Inquisitor is a very quiet, very large person who armed with a sword and light like leather jerkin, red long tunic, breeches with leg wrappings, good solid shoes to fight in.
Do they look like an officer of sorts?
A swordsman, definitely. Doesn't say much, just kind of stares.
I see you picked up some serious muscle in the meantime.
An old man like myself has to make sure that he survives from trip to trip.
Fair to say. I have a very... And granted, I am far more lowborn than the rest of you. I'm assuming we're causing quite stir standing here in the middle of a dock having a conversation. Would we like to retire somewhere a bit more private?
I suppose. Certainly you can bring your own muscle there along, and she'll nod towards Praanz with a bit of a smirk.
Oh, I'm nobody's muscle, darling.
Oh, certainly I hope you're your own.
Oh, that, most definitely.
And yes, let's find some better abodes than here at the docks.
Malakai would begin leading them into the direction of the vulgar unicorn.
Indeed. There is a tavern on the square, if you will. It's literally just like 100 meters from the docks. The numbers 2 and 3 there. And the number 2 is the actual tavern. It has a sign hanging there with an illustration of a very happy boar with a huge set of tusks smiling. Like it's kind of a caricature of a boar smiling. And it says Young Master Hildurs. And but the house you want to go to is further down, sort of between the town and the camp, if you will, because you know the clientele. There's quite a few, shall we say, camp guards that frequent the place.
Is this an establishment you know well?
You could say it. Upon arriving, Malakai would not even slow down, would physically boot through the front door and call out in a very clear voice, "A simple sailor seeks safe harbor in a storm."
Oh, you hear from inside.
We'll take that with a yes.
Don't worry, dear. He does this a lot.
Yeah, you hear someone from inside there just absolutely recognize and come up immediately. It is this lady, Captain Malakai. She comes up. She's in her 40s at the very least. She is dressed in almost Trakorian clothes, proper dress, jacket with patterns, and nicely wrought leather belt with all sorts of symbols and very snaky, flowery type of patterns around them, and a nice purse hanging on it. Captain Malakai, how are you? We have not seen you in so many years. I did not expect to see you again.
Being unexpected is one thing. I'm quite known for. The Queen of Salt and Spray. Wishing to pay her regards. It had been so long since we arrived. And Malakai...
my lady! She notices the good lady here, Taralese. She does an actual attempt at a curtsy, which is kind of amusing in a way for someone who's used to court life. You know, the locals are trying. My lady, Colonel? She probably recognized you, in fact. You must have seen her at some point before. And then she looks at the Inquisitor. Well, will we have a full house here today then? Does everyone want service? Is that... I am very happy to provide for any tastes.
No.
Almost any taste. As well as we can do here on the island, you understand.
I simply came to deliver the tribute, to rekindle our relationship. If it is not too much trouble, at least for a few hours, we require a room to have a bit of a conversation. I may also be looking for an office.
Oh, so no girls and boys now, then? Oh,
not
very well.
now.
Not
Oh,
now.
I'd hope at least you'll want a bath.
Everyone is very clean here, you know.
There is a tub on the ship, thank you. We all bathe out of a barrel of cold water.
I'm gonna have Praanz as you're standing around there. Let's see now. Yeah, do a wind check, please, for me.
Sure.
I know it's not the strongest.
What is my
strongest
wind?
suit necessarily.
I cannot see my wind. How many dice am I rolling?
It's a 1. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, that's exactly what we needed. So, as you're standing, you're kind of standing in the doorway there, as the others have filed in, got into the house proper. You will notice that there's maybe more running between the garrison and the Sulphur camp than usual. I mean, it's been a while since you were on Marjura last time, Praanz. A couple of years at the very least. Probably 5 or 6. But you don't remember, like, as an officer, you can recognize when a messenger is running with concern in their face, an alarm in their face. This is a messenger going from the camp up towards the garrison.
Praanz just gives a quick, like, side glance to it, and then quickly just kind of goes back to the conversation as though she's noticed it, but she's pretending not to pay attention to it at the moment.
Yep. Yes, Nira will show you into a room. She has plenty of those. Well, it's. I mean, honestly, if you compare this to any equivalent establishment in Tresilva, this is about the size of a cupboard. Like, the whole house is about the size of a cupboard. So any room you have there which has 4 chairs is gonna feel cramped. Like, it's a small table. All of you can just barely fit in. In here, the actual rooms for guests and their activities will consist basically of a cot and a side table, and that's gonna be it. It's gonna be very, very cramped here. But yes, you do get your own little private room to sit down in. She will even bring some refreshments, a bottle of wine, some ale, and some local treats, dried fish, and some kind of jerky. You have no idea of what kind of animal that could be.
You would choose the brothel for a conference.
I trust people that I know want my money versus people I don't know what in the fuck they want.
This is fair.
This is a very odd gathering of influential folk in the middle of fucking nowhere.
I would say so.
Funny how that works, isn't it?
So what have we missed?
Oh, that depends. What exactly are you thinking that you've missed?
Well, I wouldn't have asked if I knew.
Certainly, I'd hope someone of your repute would know how to ask the right questions.
The poor general's been stuck on a ship for an interminable voyage of 4 whole weeks.
Oh, congratulations on the promotion.
Yeah, probably was a captain last time you saw. Or major.
No.
He called me a general.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Isn't that correct?
No, I'm a colonel.
Colonel, sorry.
That's okay. I'm going to let it go.
So, I guess at least we've shared what we're here for. Why are you all here? This is rather... and she kind of looks around. You've been in some rather colorful places, Malakai, but this one really takes the cake. I really love the various shades of brown and gray.
I've seen everything from dun to monkey shit. As you know, I'm not much of a man of guile. There's important sea trading going here. The Queen of Salt and Spray wanted someone she could rely on to keep an eye on things.
And I'm here on some business. That's about as much as I can say at the moment.
Taralese just kind of sits there and studies Praanz.
Praanz just sits there and doesn't move, full straight face.
Malakai will grab a bottle of whiskey off the table, bite the cork free, and down a good chug on it before thrusting it out to the Inquisitor.
Visitor quickly grabs it and pours himself into the glass, and then puts it back on the table and drinks slowly. So yes, we're all here for our respective reasons. But yes, I'm here to investigate the locals. As, well, why else would you set an Inquisitor? I look back at Balan at that point.
Balan is just kind of standing there.
If I'm not being too forward, you don't send an Inquisitor of your estate, someone that an entire ship was hired out for to get to Trakoria, unless there's a clear and present folk in danger.
I appreciate the compliment, Malakai. Possibly there is a clear and present danger here. Did you know that on the ship what was the lady's name? Nin? Something like that?
Nin Alaska.
Yes, she was here to come serve papers or serve tablets to the local curator. Something about an audit.
She's here with the pod audits. And she'll look at
Some-
Praanz with that.
Someone's had their hand in the cookie jar.
Hmm.
Well, given the reason that the good marshal is here, it's not surprising, no?
Most definitely not.
You can cut the tension with a knife. Staring at each other across the table. Bala is just kind of standing by the door, probably outside the door even.
Yeah, there's not enough room.
No.
So,
They're
I
gonna
hope
give
you all brought evening wear.
I'm never underprepared.
what I wear in the morning, I normally can wear in the evening.
She means finery.
I've brought some spare clothes.
This is my good oilskin coat.
I think it needs a little more oil, a little more polish on the buttons there. Maybe brush your boots a little, or at least your hair, something like that. But there is a ball that's supposed to be happening soon.
Interesting.
And I hear there's going to be quite the show going on too, so it'll be a night to remember.
We have just arrived, and as far as I'm aware, have not been invited to such a menagerie.
When has that ever stopped you?
Normally, I'm climbing over the wall with the knife in my teeth. It's going in the front door that has to be a bit askew.
Sure, Malakai, that we can find proper invitations for yourself.
I do believe if I look very hard, there may be a burgundy and hunter green outfit that I fairly acquired in a game of chance.
Actually, I think I might know a couple of young upcoming ladies that I could help introduce you to. They would certainly help you with being able to get into the ball.
Mikhail, I'm going to assume this is the kind of thing I don't need an invitation to.
The intricacies of court life has often escaped you, but given your rank and so on, you can't imagine that they would show you the door.
Yeah. That's what I figured.
And with Malakai showing, if nothing else, morbid curiosity, she will go on to describe the two rival ladies.
I'll tell you what I do. Since you've been such a dear friend to me throughout the years, I'll take both of them.
That sounds like a wonderful idea.
I figured you'd appreciate the irony to it.
Oh, trust me. The dear Marshal isn't the only one that's going to be making waves.
Such a small village and so many intrigues.
Oh, we have not yet begun to plot and scheme.
No, we're just making daggers at this point.
I'm getting along once swimmingly with everybody.
Yeah, we're all friends here.
Exactly. So, having had your little conversation at the local brothel, where are you going next?
I should probably retrieve my finery from the ship and get a couple guards posted at the Vulgar Unicorn and maybe a few other places.
Indeed.
I will head back to the inn where I was originally headed.
For sure. Errol.
But my place had so much character.
I mean, it does.
Yeah, Erald will actually head and probably follow the colonel here to the inn and head in, as he has not yet visited the nearby inn to see if the room and board is a bit better than the garrison.
Taralese?
She'll head back to the garrison for now. I'm sure it's about probably getting closer to lunchtime and,
Yeah.
still so much to be familiarizing herself with and, discussing the ball and what all to expect with it with Cilicia.
Yep, that sounds good to me. All right, so we have people going in different directions. You will notice, of course, as you're returning, there is... you haven't seen them necessarily before, but there's a contingent of wolfkin here. They are all dressed in... I think at least Praanz would be familiar with this group. They are all dressed in camouflage colored clothes, browns, greens, whites, depending on where they have to go. There's still a glacier out here with sort of a rabbit fur beret that has a red wolf head on it. They're dressed in leathers, longbows, and bastard swords on their backs, basically. And they are also part of the soldiery around here, but very clearly separate from the Trakorian troops. And there's two of them are standing by on the city square and greeting each other the wolfkin way. So, sniffing each other's butts.
It's a sight only in Arhem.
Exactly.
Sorry, completely out of character. It just makes me think Frida's been playing the Wolfkin wrong.
No, she hasn't.
I'm fairly used to it. My boat swims in Wolfkin.
So, Malakai, you're going down to the port. Praanz and Erald will go to the tavern. I can
Yes.
English. All right, so some tavern then. Let's have a couple of character tokens there. Praanz, Erald, and of course Balan. Because Balan is always there. Have I Yeah, there we go. So, as you come into the tavern, it's a small place, just like everything here is. There is a bunch of locals. You will notice that I've used kind of the same faces over and over again because they're local farmers and stuff. And there are some soldiers. I'm going to move them to a different table because I want to do that now. And there is... not that guy. There is a jester who is doing absolutely desperate attempts at entertaining people. And a bunch of sailors, really, because there are sailors in port now. It's fairly packed for being such a small room. And this young jester, he's like frail. He's... what could it be? 15, 16, 17. It's hard to pick an age for this guy. Maybe he's just very short naturally. He looks like if you poke him hard enough, he's gonna break. But he's trying really hard there to do cartwheels and somersaults in the space of absolutely nothing. And kind of, sort of not succeeding necessarily all that well. He's not alone there though, because of course... you will notice some people who came with the Reaver's daughter, the 3 people that booked passage with it, and they are right now standing together with. No, that wasn't the one. Together with a fairly. Big and burly fellow in an apron. He must be the innkeeper, and their manager is talking to him. It's Erald, you haven't seen these people before. One there is a very large fellow. He's at least 6 foot, but probably a bit more, as wide as he is tall. Very quiet, though. The woman with... there's 2 women there with him. One is dressed in fineries. She's trying to look more noble than she is. She is dressed in algae silk, but it's a combination of patterns and colors that just wouldn't fly on Paratorna. I don't think Erald cares, but Lady Taralese would. And the other woman there is very graceful, but definitely cargo mission, dressed with as few clothes as she possibly need to have to still stay warm. The woman who is trying to look nicer than she might be is talking intensely with the tavern keep, as it were. That's the tavern for you.
Cal, I'm missing vision. Sorry.
Oh, you're missing vision. I'll fix that immediately. How are you not have vision? There we go. You have vision.
Thank you.
I will go up and interrupt their conversation because Hildor's the person I need to speak to.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt your negotiations, but I need to speak with our lovely innkeep if you don't mind.
Huh? The woman is looking at you and... Oh, of course, Colonel. Sorry about that, so sorry.
Not a problem.
We are simply, yes, of course. But, Master Hilder, we'll be so happy to conduct our show here tonight. And I assure you that we will increase your business tenfold at the very least. The strongest man on Marjura, and points towards Gistaki. Yes, indeed. And then they kind of duck out of the way and start towards the street. Erald, they're buskers, quite clearly.
Yep.
Praanz will gesture to Hilder's office as if, somewhere private.
Yeah, the very small jester is kind of looking at them and going, it's kind of this kind of jealous and at the same time very intimidated look because he's such a small and frail of stature, and there's you have the big wrestler guy that just kind of walks around there.
Yeah.
What can I do for you? Says Hildur. Hildur, I should describe. Yes, go ahead.
I've gotten word of a missing shipment of weaponry, and I've been sent to look into it. I want to know what you know.
What I know.
Or at least what you've heard.
So let me describe him to you. He is about as big as a bull, red hair that goes everywhere, and his leather apron is quite dirty. He has woolen clothes that have been paled by age,
Yes.
but his gaze is rock solid. And this is a man who is kind of the informal leader of the whole village, really, as far as you're concerned.
Yeah.
He will look at you with an intense gaze, because he's always looking with an intense gaze. But
Friends just
also,
meets it right back.
Yeah. I'm gonna roll his water here, and feel free to roll yours.
Okay. What is my water? My water's...
Yeah, it's 2.
Okay.
You
Nope.
can't read him at all.
That's fine.
Let's go outside, he says.
Certainly. She follows him.
He'll go around the back, basically. What's Erald doing in the meantime?
Erald at this point is just taking in the nearby locals here and probably laughing a little bit at the jester.
Yep.
Indirectly picturing himself probably in 10 years of possibly becoming a jester.
Yeah, the jester will seem very encouraged by this and do a couple of more somersaults and go to you, hoping for
Which
some
Erald
coppers
definitely
thrown his
will
way.
clap and yeah. At that point, he would probably find a spot to sit and simply go ahead and take in the locals here that remains.
A young girl about 16 or 17 or possibly 18 comes up and asks what you might want to have.
Looking to see if I can speak with the owner of the establishment.
Of course. You'll have to wait though until he comes back.
Oh, that's fine. In the meantime, I'll enjoy your your jester.
Indeed. Behind the actual inn, there is a small stables. It's all very muddy on the ground here. Hildur is kind of standing. Now, what was that you were looking for again?
A shipment of arms that's gone missing. Some smuggled swords. Just want to know if you've heard anything.
As far as I know, there are no swords in Arhem. We do not want any trouble.
And I don't want to make any trouble. I just want to retrieve them and retrieve whoever took them. I desire no trouble for your people.
Very good. I can say this much. Any trouble coming here comes from the outside.
That's usually the way. Is there any outsiders you could point me towards that tend to cause trouble?
Such a strategically placed question.
I have my moments.
Yes. Last night I had an archaeological expedition, whatever that is, here in staying the night. Strange people, you Trakorians, going digging for the past. Well, they left before sunrise this morning.
Okay.
I think they are heading to Kruri, but yes. With
Excellent.
all their belongings. Big crates they had.
Okay. Thank you.
But there are many strange people who have come with the ships.
Yes, I imagine you get a lot of oddities in and out with the convoy.
There is young noble I hear about, Trovinder da Homs.
Okay.
Supposedly works with the trading house Shakello, but I don't know.
Mikhail, what would I know about this person, or if anything?
You've never heard of a Trovinder da Homs ever. You do know about the trading house Shakello, though. That's the trading house that has the official monopoly on the sulfur export, and which has made them fabulously rich.
But if somebody's going to move smuggled goods, that would be a good way to do it.
Oh, absolutely, it would be.
Yeah. Can you point me in the direction of this person?
Certainly. If you want me to, you just look for the House Shakello. That's where the Homes resides, as far as I know. I'm not down by the noble houses very often.
Thank you. At this point, would it be appropriate for me to pass him some coin?
Nah, he doesn't like that kind of thing.
Okay.
He is a man of great integrity, really, who has done more than most people around here to maintain peace between the locals and the Trakorians. You will know his history. He was, in fact, one of the leaders of the rebellion that the Marjorans... So when the Trakorian troops came and occupied Arhem, there was a very short-lived rebellion of Marjorans against that, and he was one of the leaders of that. But that was, 20, 30 years ago, when he was a young strapper, and since then he has been one of the primary people to keep the peace here and made sure that there will not be any more violence. In fact, his battle axe, the battle axe he used during those fights, is now hanging on the wall inside the tavern.
Nice. So I will shake his hand then and say, if there's anything that you need from me and I can help you with during my time in town, please let me know.
Very good.
And I will leave him to his business.
He seems very pleased to see you go. He has a respect for... He has to respect, I should say, the Trakorian officers... But there's always that tension in the air, and he appreciates that you are at least making the attempt to, that you're not just steamrolling the locals, basically. He appreciates that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is Praanz's visit to young Master Hilders. What will Erald do in the meantime?
Erald at this point. Yeah, he'd probably sit around and wait for Hildur to show back up. Basically look at Balan and just kind of gesture around awkwardly until he basically sees the gentleman show.
Yeah. It takes a little while, of course, but Hildur eventually turns up again. And so, you see him stroll past.
Erald at that point would kind of stand up and gesture towards him and say, do you have a minute?
Of course. I am a bit busy today, but a minute I can spare for a man of the cloth.
Really simple question. Do you know what time the shrine opens up on the north side? I went by recently to pay respects and it was closed.
How about we roll another wind roll?
Yeah, that went as well as I thought.
What? Oh, right. No, roll the water instead. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Because this is more about reading the room. Oh my god! Look at that. Boxcars. Yes. You notice, when you ask this question, you notice just how chill the atmosphere here becomes. Not the Trakorian soldiers. It just passes there completely by. But the locals, there's just this, almost a shudder going over them. And Hildur is... I know nothing of religious matters.
So you don't pay respects either way?
Oh, I pay my respects to Morda regularly, he says. Maybe we should, maybe, yes. I pay my respects, he says. Not a lot of things can shake this man, but this is awkward for him. Maybe you want, I can show you the dormitories instead.
No, that's okay. I'm staying at the garrison. But
I mean, before you say that line, Josh, with those boxcars, you will understand that this is a hint for you.
Okay. So yeah, definitely. At this point,
Check
you
out
kind
the
of
dorms together.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, you go into the dorms, and he's saying, "Oh, they come very cheap, only a few mackerels per night." And then he lowers his voice. Something bad is happening. You have to tread carefully, Barú.
What type of bad? It seems no one here. If anything, I'm here to literally pay respects to the local druids.
The druids and the sick people in the infirmary left Arhem several weeks ago. They were going to the sacred spring in the druid temple.
And assuming they never came back since.
The only ice druid I have seen since was the young girl who came with the convoy. But take heed. The Shagolites are always listening.
Yes, they are. And Erald will do nothing to hide his view.
So you see, we have some space now here, if you need some beds.
Yes, this is much bigger than my current board at the garrison.
Very nice then.
Yes.
Meanwhile,
maybe-
yeah, go ahead.
Alan, we'll definitely have to move our stuff.
Yes, sir. Yes, Barú, he says. Meanwhile, outside, we have, of course, our other friends. Malakai, you have made it down to port. You have connected with your sailors.
Quick question, because I do not remember it from episode 0. Praanz mentioned the missing weapons to Malakai, correct? That was a nod,
Yes, I did.
Upon pouring myself into overly tight green and red leather finery, I will return back to the vulgar unicorn and start spreading a little bit of the wealth that was sent around to the girls, seeing if anyone's heard anything about a missing weapons shipment or people suddenly coming into possession of said weapons.
That's a good initiative. I'll have you roll, let's see now, water, of course, because now you're doing this kind of investigation, which is not quite your forte, I will admit. You're also a bit tired after the trip. I'm going to say that goes for both you and Praanz. It was that you will recall when we were rolling the navigation thing and you took a point of exhaustion there. So after tonight, if you get a proper night's rest, you're going to be all fine. But I'm going to keep that exhaustion there until the next morning, just so you know. That goes for Praanz as well, of course.
All right, so that's me rolling my water. Do I have anything additional I would roll with that?
Not really, no. You are not a, Well, the for sale ports give you some connections, doesn't it?
Yes, and I've got connections through something else as well.
You can talk to other people who do swordplay around here. There is, in fact, a sword school in town. Small one.
He wouldn't be looking at this as, ooh, hobbyist.
Oh, the other,
stole
yes,
new
I
sword.
did have you, I gave you another name there. This is true. Yeah, you can look for him, absolutely, if you want.
That is what I would like to do.
Very well. It's going to take a little while. It's not a big town, but even so, it's going to take a little while to find him. Taralese, what is going on up by the garrison? This is such a small place. Like, the entire village can be fit into the palatial Imperial estates easily several times over.
Right now, she's kind of taking the time to really explore the garrison, just kind of, curiously poking her nose around where she can, and just trying to get a lay of the land.
Sounds good. Well, the lay of the land is the procurator keeps away as much as he possibly can, while Silesia, if she can corner you somewhere, will do so, because you are the latest, finest addition to this court, as such as it is. But before she can do that, Nin will in fact catch up with you. And she is walking in her robes of office, if you will. Have you found anything? She's asking you in a very quiet voice. You're just kind of standing there in the hallway.
Well, nothing too much yet. Primarily, I want to work Silesia still, given her connections. But she has a few years on me, so it's going to take a little while to work her.
Right. Yeah, I can tell you the procurator has skimmed a lot. There's no doubt about that.
Not surprising, but that's not the real goal. The real goal is to figure out where he's spending that skimmed gold.
Well, I have found a couple of interesting documents, and it seems to me that this morning there was a note coming in from one of the merchant houses. Apparently there is a shipment of weapons coming here, smuggled. It was a letter, and it was signed by someone called Master Mulbrock. Now, I think I recognize the handwriting, but I'm not sure where I've seen it before.
Do you have the letter on you?
No, I couldn't. It belongs to Goddard. He has it.
What room was it in?
Well, let's take a stroll. And so you go. You can see Goddard being downstairs, out in the courtyard, and he's calling up some guards.
She'll definitely look at that.
Yep. Yeah, they are organizing something, and a bunch of guards. He's telling them something in a loud enough voice. A sergeant and 10 guards are to go down to young Hilder's tavern, and another sergeant and 10 guards are to go down to the sulfur camp.
She'll nod over in that direction. Any ideas about what that's about?
I don't know about the camp. There was some commotion there this morning. But he hasn't told me because, of course, I'm gonna have to get myself into that place. There was some disturbance there, but he hasn't told me anything about it yet.
At Hildegard's or the camp?
At the camp, I think Hilder's. I think that might have something to do with a letter. I didn't get a good enough look at it.
Let's go and have a look then.
Indeed. So it is that, you've been having your conversations. Erald, you're staying at the tavern, or are you?
No, Erald will probably slowly make his way back after spending maybe another 10-15 minutes looking at the gesture, having a quick conversation with Balan, and then making his way out.
Praanz, where are you going now?
To investigate the messenger I saw earlier.
Ah, very good. So up towards the garrison then, I guess.
Yep.
Alright, so... I'm gonna say that you will probably arrive... well, as you were going up, basically... Erald, where were you going again? Sorry,
Yeah, back to the garrison.
Back to the garrison.
Yep.
So, when Malakai, Erald, and Praanz are all going up, you will see, in fact, 2 sergeants leading a bunch of troops coming down the hill. And, of course, Nin and Taralese kind of walking at a distance behind them. And they're going with purpose and determination and some level of alarm. Yes.
Do I have the... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Upon seeing this procession, once Malakai has got past where they're walking, he will send 2 of the Marines that he has with them to escort the ladies.
Of course. Yeah, this entire troop, one of the troops is going to the tavern, and basically they're going, open up in the name of the Emperor, smacking up the door. Hilder is looking like, what?
Do I have the authority to stop and question them?
Absolutely.
Okay, I do so.
Before they get to the actual tavern?
Yes.
Or when they open the door?
Well, probably before they get to the tavern.
Okay. So you just kind of raise your hand. The sergeant is
Yes.
looking at you.
What's your business, gentlemen?
This is Imperial business. Move along, citizen.
And I'm part of the Imperial. What is your business, gentlemen?
What do you mean? Are you going to show them your credentials?
Yes.
Oh, you're just... Here is...
Yeah.
Let me whip this out.
Do you know who I am?
Here's the badge. Exactly.
Yeah.
He's looking at your credentials and like the Colonel of Digitalonga, he's just drains his face completely. Sir, I'm so sorry. Yes, sir. What can I do for you, sir?
What's your business?
Where
Where are you going? What are you doing?
We were just ordered by the procurator to search the tavern for smuggled weapons that might be used in a rebellion against the Empire, sir.
I would like to go with you, as I was just speaking to the tavern keep about smuggled weapons.
Yes, sir. Of course, sir.
Is there anywhere else that should be searched?
There was a commotion by the camp.
I want a messenger sent. I want them to hold until I get there.
Yes, sir. one person runs.
So I follow them back. I explain the situation to the innkeep, as I'd like to keep him relatively friendly.
Mm-hmm.
And do a cursory search, as I don't believe they're here.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the locals, as you search through the tavern, are none too pleased. Everybody's basically, doing the dagger eyes thing towards the Trakorian soldiers while the search is going on. But just as you thought, there's...
make sure it's done respectably. Like, they're not breaking anything, they're not turning things over, they're behaving.
They're behaving. Yeah, they do have to open up all the sort of bed chests and go into the stables behind, search through the hay properly, go into even Hilder's apartments behind and check things, but they will behave properly under your guidance, that's for sure.
And as we leave, when we don't find anything, I apologize to Hilder, and I explained to him that I came here to make sure that nothing was overturned.
Indeed. Nothing was... under your guidance, they will obey orders very strictly.
And I will then follow them to the camp and make sure it goes the same way.
Mm-hmm. This time, Malakai is, of course, out looking for his connections. And will manage to find a certain person. This is, by now, I'm going to say it's like early afternoon. And he will be able to find...
Mr. Blackbolt.
Yes, that's the man. There we go. Guster. He is... walking around in the other part of town. He's a local with a wide-brimmed hat, very dirty black hair hanging down by the sides, a proper coat, really sturdy boots, an outdoors man, and known for his skill with the crossbow, of course, that he has sometimes over his shoulder, sometimes on the back. He's walking along the streets there when you find him, and he's looking up and goes... Captain?
Guster, I have been looking for you.
What can I do for you?
I have heard tales of chest of weapons going missing. Is this you and your crew's work?
He kind of waves at you. You walk a bit outside the main town, if you will. It wasn't. Some Paratornians brought them.
Let me cut it straight with you, brother. The Digatalanga is here. Everything needs to fucking stop. Until you hear from me, it can start again. This place is gonna get turned upside down if we don't find a name or a convenient scapegoat. Can you help me save your city, brother?
Much obliged, Captain. I hear hunting is nice this time of year, is it not? But I can tell you this much, Captain. The items they are looking for are no longer in town. They left with the archaeological expedition about before sunrise this morning. Good riddance too. They were bad luck.
Does the expedition know they're being used as fucking mules?
That they do.
I would palm him a few coins.
If you know what is good for you, do not look more for these weapons. They are cursed.
I'm simply passing information to keep someone off of everyone's back. Don't we want things to go back to normal? You can run your trade. I can bring you beautiful stuff to sell. May have some puppies on the ship if you'd care for them.
I like it.
But understand me, I'm going to try to work myself into a position of securing the docks. You know the Trakorian Navy isn't very effective.
The man you want to watch out for. Bodil Scoffer.
Run that one past me again.
Bodil Scoffer.
I greatly appreciate it, brother. And
He's,
seriously, pass the word to everyone.
He's
Cut down and go ahead.
he heads the Shakello trading house. But if you talk to the muggers, they might help you. I know they want to muscle in on this trade.
Did you say the muggers?
The muggers. An O.
Oh, okay. I was thinking people that robbed you by hitting you in the back of the head.
Nope, not quite so. I put the name in the chat there.
Brilliant. I greatly appreciate it.
Yes, they have wanted to muscle in on the trade for a long time, but it's not easy with the Trakorians guarding the ships so well and Shakello having a monopoly on the trade. You cannot miss them. They are right next to, right across from the tavern. The marsh folks.
You have been very useful. I will remember this. I appreciate it, and the Queen of Salt and Spray appreciates it.
One
Be
good
careful. Be careful on the docks. We need nothing to cause an eye to be looked upon them. I'll send a couple of the lads by with some things from the ship for you.
Me and the boys will go hunting buzzard. I hear the Trakorians appreciate the leather very much.
Good to know. Good to know. There's also an Inquisitor in town.
An Inquisitor? Huh. Well, I suppose he will have trouble with the Shagolites. They are up to something.
Do you
But
have any
they always have been.
anything unusual? Anything that may be of use to me?
Well, I hear a lot of talk. Just, well, may have been a month or two ago I had a nice night with a Kur woman, you know. They speak about the Shagolites. They say, the Kur do. They speak about how the Shagolites eat them.
You do understand that's not as quite as much of a sin to me as it is to other people.
I was almost going to say to each their own, but I have most of us around here do not like them much. Though they have been running the infirmary well enough and many people have been healed, but there is something off. I would not be able to put my finger on it.
I have kept you from your day long enough. I hope you have a wonderful time shooting buzzard.
And to you.
Malakai and his honor guard would then start wandering back towards city center and the Vulgar Unicorn and the inn and all those happy places.
Indeed. Oh, I didn't mean to remove your whole token there. Sorry about that. I'll put it out again. Meanwhile, of course, the troop is going to the sulfur camp, isn't it?
Yep.
This is like all of you now. So is Erald part of this as well?
You're just following the commotion.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you know what? Sure, let's do this.
Let's do this. Everybody's going over to the sulfur camp.
There's a commotion. There's bound to be witches somewhere.
Exactly.
know what you're talking about. I didn't steal any swords.
Oh, wouldn't that be a freaking turnaround?
Don't know what you're talking about. Didn't steal any
Didn't
swords.
steal them this time.
The sulfur camp can be simply described as, yeah, that's what it sounds like. It's a camp. It has 2 islands, a cluster of building on the first island, and also a cluster of building on the other one. Well, quite simply, there is a sizable portal, if you will, a wall, wooden wall that stretches across that causeway, separating the camp from the rest of the lands. And the closer you get to the sulfur camp, the stinkier it gets. This is where the sulfur is extracted, and it smells to high heaven, without any doubt. The gate itself is, in fact, protected by a huge man. Probably the largest that most of you have ever seen. This man must have Tol Guld blood. That is your only conclusion. Absolutely monstrously big. He is, 9 feet? Something like that? The Tol Gulds are people living in only one city on Palamux, known for just how tall they are. And they sometimes take jobs as mercenaries here and there in the Empire, because obviously when you're that tall and that just body mass, you hit hard. People know this. Not many of them leave that city, but some do. And this might well be one of them. But if he is, in fact, a Tol Guld, then he is the ugliest Tol Guld you've ever seen. He is, his arms are so long that they almost come down. His hands almost come down to the ground. His face is coarse, almost like sandpaper. His entire skin is like that. He has a little bit of hair on the top of his head, but it's black. It's unwashed for a long time. A jaw that is as big as his skull almost. It's like it's pieced together, the face, by the remains from several different processes of creation. His teeth are sticking out in different directions like tree stumps. And he's basically dressed in really dirty woolen clothes and has a red scarf around his neck. And he's standing there. Stop!
Did the other command wait for me as they were instructed?
Yeah, they're standing there and waiting.
Okay.
As instructed.
So I explained to him who we are, what we're doing, and tell him to let us pass.
Well, how do you explain this? He's standing there.
That we are looking for some missing, I don't say stolen, I say missing, weaponry. And we had rumor that it was found in the camp somewhere, and we need to look for it.
The cogs in his head are moving really slowly. Who are you? You don't get in here. Only soldiers get in here.
I am a soldier.
No, you're not. I can tell. You have
I show him my...
He's looking at the clay tablet. He obviously can't read.
I'm Colonel da Kaelve.
Oh, you're a colonel. Oh, Oh, Colonel! And he's trying to do like a salute, like he's really trying to stand at attention, but he's kind of bow-legged, so the knees stick out on both sides. Colonel!
Good job, soldier.
Trouble to report, Colonel.
Yes, that's what I came to investigate.
Colonel, lots of trouble. 2 guards missing, zombie not working properly, messy, Colonel. Also rashes for lots of people. No sulfur harvest today. Yes.
No worries, soldier. You've done a good job. Take me to the camp leader.
Yes, sir. Opens the door. Like it's such an easy push for this giant of a man to just push open the door ever so lightly. Colonel, and then he goes in there. Yeah, it's been messy in here. There are a lot of people sitting around. Some of the camp guards are sitting around and nursing various bruises. And there is some moaning coming from the barracks where the conscripted laborers would reside. And the pots of zombie potion that would be distributed to make the laborers docile have been overturned, lying down. And there is a sergeant kind of walking around looking nervous, and then he spots this entire troop coming in, and he's kind of, hold on there, who are you? Oh, he's your
Arhem da Kaelve,
colonel.
who's in charge?
I'm sorry. I'll show you, and the sergeant shows you to the captain, who is in charge.
Good evening, Captain. What the hell happened here?
When you show your credentials there, the captain goes quite pale. Because you outrank him so desperately. Sir? What happened here? I'm not sure, sir. Well, takes you to one of the cabins. Or is the Erald is just coming in there, or what?
Yeah, Erald will fall suit unless
And Nin
someone tells him
and the
otherwise.
lady as well. Unless the good colonel says that they can come in, the tall bull
I'll
giant...
ask them to wait outside till I investigate the scene to make sure it's safe.
Okay, that sounds reasonable. Because otherwise, the huge guard will go like, "Oh, you can't come in here, no."
Not
civilians."
used to not being just a general party.
Exactly. So you go in there. The captain is basically taking you into the officer's house, which is a very, very small place. Everything here stinks horribly too. And he sits down. He looks very nervous. Well, in the night, we don't know. We lost
Start
two...
from the beginning, Captain.
In the morning on the roll call, sir, ma'am, we identified that 2 of our guards have gone missing. This is the 3rd guard. Yes, 3rd. Well, yeah, it's the 3rd guard that has gone missing this past week. We found the first one. Well, we found his feet, and then there has been another officer disappeared earlier this month. So yes, and then we had a problem with our apothecary Sulidon. Must have messed up the potion, the zombie. It didn't work this morning. The workers just refused orders. The whole batch was destroyed.
When he mentions the apothecary, I think it's the one from my notes. She
Yep.
just gets a look of like, this idiot again.
Yep, that one.
No wonder they sent me. I have an entire mess to clean up.
Yeah.
I'll speak to the apothecary. This mess needs to be cleaned up.
Yes, sir.
The guards' feet, what did they look like? Was
It's-
the cut clean, or was it hacked, or...
Yes, sir. We the feet are in Master Rumperlack's house. Yeah, I can show you.
Yes, please do.
You walk across there to Master Rumperlack. This is Sulidor Rumperlack, who is, of course, the apothecary that you know so very well. It's a small house. It's basically just his room and, you know, a privy. It stinks to high heaven here. It's a mix of spices and rot. Because on the actual table sits 2 feet that have been cut off just above the ankle. In the bed, you can see Sulidon himself, his pale appearance. He's lying there, kind of shaking, scratching himself. He seems to probably have taken something, because he's kind of out of it, and just kind of... he must have taken some of his own potions.
I need you to sober up, and I need you to tell me what the hell went wrong with the potion this morning.
What
What do I need to give you to
then
sober you up?
And then he sees that it's you and goes like, Master da Kaelve, Master da Kaelve, sir. I'm so sorry. I don't know what went wrong with the... something happened when I was sleeping. And then I passed out. And then in the morning I did the recipe as always, but there was something, so I took a little something for... It's so itchy. And that happened to the laborers too. There must have been something wrong with the recipe. I don't know what happened. Something went wrong. And they all had rashes and they couldn't work, sir.
I don't touch him, but I move to and look at the rash. What's it look like?
You can't see too much. It's like a whole bunch of red dots, basically.
Something similar to like the look of chickenpox?
Not quite. You don't have medicine, so you wouldn't be able to see the difference between a disease and an allergic reaction.
Okay.
Yes, can I...
I want a healer brought in to investigate this.
I am the healer, he says.
Are you the only healer in town?
No. There are... Well, yes, now I am. Yeah, the Komoda druids have left with the...
And I look at the other soldier. The Inquisitor I was with said something about a druid coming into town. Go ask him where they went.
Yes, sir. Well, you've been waiting patiently outside the palisade with the camp when this officer comes out. Barú, and he kind of bows to pay his respects to the Inquisitor. My lady, and he bows to Taralese as well. The Colonel asked me to ask you where the druid has gone. Is there a druid in town?
Last I seen of the druid, she was on the ship with us, and that was the extent of it.
I see.
Indeed.
Ah.
They were all pressing their faces into the ground. It was all rather odd.
Well, is she here now? Wait, but we have to search for her. He points out to a bunch of soldiers. Go find the druid.
If I were to hazard a guess, if you find the group that was going to the excavation site, you'll find her. She kept talking about returning to her glacier.
Oh. Well, let's see if we can find the excavation group then. Soldiers are running across to try and find them. Meanwhile, what's happening with Malakai? Is he making his way to the big commotion by the sulfur cap as well?
He's kind of wandering. He did dispatch 2 of his men, so he is trying to retrieve them. And I do have all sorts of handy-dandy answers to questions. So
You do.
yes, I'd probably be heading in that generalized direction. Let me know when I get there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it won't. You've been doing your inquiries, so you might actually be turning up there right about now. If I haven't turned myself around completely, I would think.
Malakai arrives. He's actually wearing a rather nice outfit. He clearly stole from somebody about the same size as him. What had been a very blocky skull war paint pattern earlier now looks something more like a sugar skull. Trust everyone's having a nice afternoon.
Captain, you clean up well.
It's a very rare occasion, but you must be able to do it. Have come across a small bit of information to share specifically for you, and I think what may be more important currently is I know where the thing the Colonel's looking for is at.
Yeah, look, he's in there. He gestures towards the building.
What he's
In the
looking for
meantime-
ain't what he's looking for ain't fucking in there. You were saying.
So where is it then?
Are we in a relatively... Are we pulled away from everybody?
That's up to you
Or-
guys. Like the soldiers
we-
are basically just standing on formation until they get ordered to do something else.
We will fall back a little bit. My boys will kind of surround us. The architectural expedition has the weapons and they know they are carrying them. I know the house they are working for, and I have a group we may be able to leverage if we need assistance. I don't know if you all recall when I set to my mind to something, I get shit done.
I do have a question. That wouldn't have to do with one Tovinder, would it?
No. Trading house I've heard of is Shikelo?
Yeah, as far
More
as I
s-
remember, Travinder was going to the Shakello house.
And a more specific name is a Bodville Scoofed.
That one doesn't ring a bell, but the Shakello does. Remember the one that was awaiting me on the ship? And she's looking at Erald.
Yes, the one that you had many social niceties with.
Yes, I can't help it if other people are just simply too dull.
You've been
Though he certainly
humiliating.
knows how to keep a beat with his pacing.
You've been humiliating poor fuckers again.
That's my job, darling.
At this point, I will assume that I've got things organized enough. I did want to take a look at the feet and see if they were clean cut or
They
If
are
they
clean
were-
cut. It looks like a saw has chopped them off. It doesn't look at all like, wild animals, the type of bites that they would have there.
okay. So at that point, I said I can't do anything more for you till the druid comes to heal your workers, or this idiot snaps out of it enough to do something. I will come back and check on you in the morning.
Yes, sir. It looks like he's wanting to say something, but is also
Speak.
kind of afraid of saying things.
I literally command him to speak.
Yeah. He's looking at the floor again because he is not feeling good about things at all. Listen. The Shagolites have an agent here, Malik Mongoose. Be careful.
think that might be the one the Inquisitor's after.
You should take care too. He will disappear like the last one.
Okay.
People who speak ill of the Shagalites disappear around here, so...
That might be who's taking our guards. And I look at the other... when I come back out, I speak to the other guards who were sent to investigate here. Now, who sent you and why the hell did they think my stolen weapons were here?
Sir, says the guards, the sergeant who is in... We were not sent here to investigate stolen weapons. We were sent here to make sure that the the sulfur extraction is not impeded, sir, because there was some trouble with it, and
well, unfortunately, dying workers will impede things.
Apparently, they are refusing to work, sir, and the procurator will not have that. So, yes, sir.
Start with a healer. Find somebody to fix the mess this potion made, and then we can go from there.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, I have more investigating to do.
They're kind of conferring with each other. I think only the Shagalite, right? Yeah, the Shagalite should be the one.
To what?
Healer. They run the infirmary.
Oh, lovely. Stay here. Guard. Make sure nobody else goes missing.
Yes, sir. And you will hear, of course, the big one. Private Abralex reporting for duty. I can guard things, sir.
Good job. Keep watching the door.
Yes, sir. He stands and literally just watches the door.
Excellent, Private. I come back out. That was a shit show. Am
I at a fucking slave camp?
Yep.
Possibly.
To
That was in
which,
character.
To which, Taralese is kind of looking around. Does she recognize any of the ones that are kind of milling about more as any of the new ones that came?
Out here? No. This is, I mean, some
They followed me
soldiers-
inside.
Yeah.
No, the slaves.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Well, yes, absolutely. To the extent that they're outside. Most of them are, in fact, confined to barracks at the moment.
Okay, so she does recognize some of the slaves as some of the new ones that had arrived.
Yeah.
While everything else is going on, there is a very, very heated conversation going on amongst Malakai and his men.
Erald, what are you doing? This entire mess.
Has absolutely nothing to do with me. So he's continuing to investigate and just kind of sit around and, just
Would you
chat with the lady.
Would you care for your information dump now?
That would be lovely.
Yeah, I'm starting with the Inquisitors. Already did yours once.
That's fine.
There's been some relatively rough issues with the Shagalites around here. I honestly think the Druids fled to get away from them. There's been reports amongst the locals of the Shagalites eating people. While I normally don't take issue with this, I eat what I take in battle.
Just see Erald shake his head.
I would suggest looking into the infirmary. It seems to be their base of operations and where they're recruiting from.
I've heard the same thing. I also think they might have eaten a couple of my guards.
Did they leave the feet?
Yes.
The feet are tough as hell.
The feet were also clean cut off, and I've heard the same thing about the Shagalites. They said people who talk ill go missing.
Lovely.
Also, somebody's fucking with the apothecary.
You say there's someone messing with the apothecary. This is new last night?
Yeah, there's a breakout of some horrible, bumpy rash.
Huh. Have they had any visitors? Did they have any visitors yesterday?
Not that I'm aware of, but he said it happened while they were all asleep.
Interesting.
So that's very concerning.
Would you like to know what her weapons are?
Yes.
The survey expedition crew had their faces pressed into the thing we kept hearing about.
Yes.
They have them. They know they have them.
Excellent.
It is connected to a house. Shekelor?
Oh. Yes, because that's exactly where the innkeeper was sending me next.
I was also given the name of a vaudeville scoffed.
I heard the Holmes.
And I also have a group you could reach out to that would like to see that particular trading house removed from the board, so could act as manpower, information, shady, underhanded stuff that your nice military uniform can't get done for you.
That would be lovely, but I will go try and bust some heads in first.
He will then spin to the lady. Do I look acceptable for the evening?
I think I have some oils you could use for your beard, and maybe just your ends are so split. Oh, thank you. I felt so alone and being saluted.
You would actually hear a very deep, very genuine gut laugh from Malakai.
I apologize, I haven't had time to retrieve my ball gown yet.
Oh,
This
don't
leather
worry.
does chafe.
Intense. So where's everybody going next? There's so many things going on at the same time. Which is
House of
lovely.
Shakel.
Say again?
Infirmary.
Infirmary?
I'm going to the House of Shakel.
House of Shakelo. Very good. And yeah, Shakelo, they are close to Villa Sunbask, if you will, though not actually Villa Sunbask. So that would be over there. Where's Taralese going?
I think she'd follow Praanz. She needs to check in on poor Tavinder.
And Malakai will be going.
I want to make sure my source is good. Josh, I really want to back you up, but Malakai would want to make sure he's getting accurate information, so I would go with Praanz as well.
All right.
That's fine. I can solo this. Hopefully.
It will be like
You do have a giant with you.
We will come back you up if we need to.
Balin is
Can
not
I
a giant.
They'll come back you up.
He's just
Yeah.
Can I
Big
send
fella.
some of my guys with me? Mikhail?
Yeah, you can absolutely do that. Yeah, sorry.
I
thought
sent
that was
4 of
for-
my guys with you.
I mean, you can send. You're the captain. You can send guys wherever you want. All right.
Noted.
Okay, where do we start? Do we start with the Shakelo or do we start with the infirmary? Let's start with the infirmary. Or let's start with the Shakelo. I'm not sure. Coin toss. I have difficulties deciding tonight. Let's start with Shakelo. Boudeville Scoffer. Well, you come to the merchant house. It's a 2-story building, stone and wood. Like everything else here, it's so much smaller than anything you can see in Trasilve. Yes, Jess, did you
I
want
would have taken a few of the guards with me to again do a proper search.
Yep.
Oh shit, we're serving warrants.
Yeah, pretty much. And are you bashing the door down? Is that what we're saying?
I am politely knocking first,
Knocking? Yeah.
and
Yeah,
if they don't answer, then I'll bash the door down.
It takes a moment or two, and then a servant comes and yes.
Colonel da Kaelve, I'm here on a search.
Say again. It's like it doesn't.
Colonel da
register.
Kaelve, I'm here to search the premises.
You don't look like a colonel to me.
Papers! Move the fuck out of the way.
Moves the fuck out of the way. Isn't it nice to have a badge?
It is! I love it!
You would hear Malakai say to one of his guys, "I really need to get me some of them fucking papers."
And in you go into this house, and
I make sure it is properly searched, and I have the 3 names that we've mentioned
yeah.
rounded up.
Well, Baudeville is in fact there, or will be very quickly, within moments of this commotion, because it's a small place. Even if you're down by the docks, you can see when a troop of like a dozen soldiers and some wild, tattooed, painted pirates, rough hands, and etc.
It's like the police knocking on your door in the suburbs.
Yes, with a SWAT team on hand. So as you're, I don't know how roughly you're going through things. There's a basement. There is a few rooms.
I'm not being destructive, but I'm being thorough.
Mm-hmm.
Me and the boys are on street duty. I'm just standing in front of the front door, kind of leaning.
This is interesting. I did not see this coming, so this is fun. Okay. All right, we'll do like this. You're searching through this place carefully, and you will in fact come upon a room that is being let to someone. If Taralese is there, you are, aren't you?
Oh yes, she's just casually, as they're rummaging, throwing open drawers, shuffling through papers. She might occasionally, pick one up, read it over, flip open a book or a ledger, or grab a tablet and scan over it.
Yep.
We're not throwing things. Like, I'm looking for proper evidence and things like that too. Judiciary process or what have you.
Right.
I assume they have money, so I want to nail them properly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh, I mean, of course they have money. They are very rich. The richest trading house in the area. And you're going through things very carefully now. So you'll find all sorts of interesting things. Mostly clay tablets with, all the proper signatures and seals showing that they have trade rights and whatnot. And all sorts of accounting books, ledgers, tons of ledgers, keeping track of accounting. Yes, Rick?
Would I have any familiarity with trade contracts?
Not since you don't have the actual peddler ability. No, not really.
I just wanted to know if I could look over them to see if they're sus.
Well, what about the seals themselves? Do they look fake? Or forged, rather?
No, they look bona fide, absolutely. They look exactly what they should look like. I want to have a Taralese roll a wind roll. This is like an investigation check, if you will. Except you can't use Machinator for this one, because it's basically crime scene investigations this time.
Alright. Ugh.
That's terrible. Everything looks perfectly normal to you. You're also not necessarily a peddler, are you? You're not allowed to be, are you? So, hard to tell. But as you're searching through these things, in fact, you will notice that one of the rooms is occupied by Travinder. You find the trunk that Travinder has, which has a lot of very nice and fancy clothes in them. And
All
both-
out of season.
Yes. Interestingly enough, though, they're both men's and women's wear in there. As
I
you
see you work both sides of the coin.
Seems like it. As you are looking through, you will in fact be interrupted by the loud voice of Baudeville Scoffer, who comes in and goes, together with two very sizable bodyguards, because Baudeville himself is a very slender and fragile-looking fellow. He's probably the best dressed of all the people around here so far that you've seen, Taralese. This man is keeping up with fashions. Has a wonderful wide-brimmed hat with a huge plumage feather, a perfectly cut cloak, fur-lined, of course, and very sharp eyes. This person, almost wax-like skin. What is the meaning of all this? What are you even doing here? What is
Clev, I have information that there's a missing shipment of armaments here, and I intend to find it.
What? This is outrageous!
Apparently, it's not.
The Budok will hear of this.
I don't
The
care.
Procurator will hear
I
of
don't
this.
care.
Who are you anyway?
Colonel de Clev.
Colonel? What? I want to see some credentials.
Here, take a look.
Upon hearing raised voices, Mal would wander into the house.
What is even going on here? There are no... What are you talking about? Wait... This is most irregular.
The best thing you can do for yourself now is cooperate.
This is the House Shakello.
I don't care if it's the House Tremaine.
He is
I think
flustered,
perhaps,
but obviously can't do a whole lot about it.
perhaps what this is a reassurance in the rights you've been given. This is a rather profitable, as I understand it, setup that you have here.
Yes?
I mean, the Pod RX is already here, so I suppose we could always go and get them to take a look instead.
When you gather them up, it's an old smuggler trick. Make sure they give you the paper notes, the ones not on clay, the less than legal ones. I'm sure you'll find some interesting things there.
What? This is preposterous. All our documents are in perfect order. I have no idea of what
Are you familiar with the phrase actionable intelligence? The Colonel here has actionable intelligence.
I will speak to the Procurator. We will not stand for this in this house. And he, together with his two big, burly bodyguards, start walking up towards the garrison.
I look at one of my soldiers. Make sure you get me every piece of clay, every piece of paper, every document in this house. I want it all seized.
Yes, sir. They do exactly that. They go through the house from top to bottom. And
Did they find my swords?
No. There are no swords here.
I told you where the swords are.
Where?
With the
Right.
archaeological expedition.
Right. They shipped them off already.
Or perhaps they were just used as a mule.
Perhaps.
I very specifically asked that, and I was told the expedition was well aware of what they were carrying.
Not you, Shakello.
Fair to say, fair to say. Would we think it'd be reasonable if I contact their enemies and see if they may have any blackmail material or evidence laying around?
Certainly.
I can rest assured if I have to grease the wheels of justice, any expenditure will be recompensated. Thank you. Mal and the boys would go off in search of the moggers.
Very well. As all this is going on, Erald is going to the infirmary. And they never saw him again. No, I mean...
He's
I
gonna
wouldn't
get
be
eaten.
surprised.
Yeah, you're making your way through that end of town, and as you come up to the infirmary, you will again notice that sort of shudder from the locals. They're kind of speeding away from this place as you're getting there. And you're knocking on the door again, and takes a little while. The door is opened. There is, you think it's a man, but you're not entirely sure, standing inside the doorway. They have a long red robe. Almost the same color, slightly darker though than the druid's tunic. It's covering everything, including a hood. Gloves, also reddish velvet. On the arm there is some kind of insignia. It's like a black circle with a black cross in it. But even the face is covered by a, looks like maybe it's a bone mask? With 2 slits for eyes and 1 for the mouth. And there is like a cloud of perfume in front of this person. Yes. Oh.
Yes.
A man of the cloth.
Yes. I'm
What
here
kind?
to report that there's some issues at the sulfur camps.
At the sulfur caps. I see.
String of rashes?
Well, that is not really something that I deal with. I'm sure the local apothecary can do something.
The apothecary can't do anything. I'm sure they would end up coming to your infirmary, would they not?
The infirmary is closed at the moment, I'm afraid.
Oh, so what happens if there's ailments within the local village here?
It will reopen shortly.
Ah. And I apologize, I have not properly introduced myself. My name is Erald. What is yours?
I am Malik Mungus.
Ah, you're the famous Malik that many of the well, the procurator just simply talks favor of you, and Silesia very much the same.
They are most kind.
Will you be joining the masquerade ball this evening?
Yes, I have been invited.
Excellent. I plan on seeing you there, and please do let me know when your infirmary reopens, as there's many sick here in the village, and I'm hoping that they're getting proper treatment.
Of course.
Mikhail, it's past the the perfume-ish smoke and this huge red cloaked figure. I'm trying to like look in. Do I see anybody in there outside of that, or
Not
is it
really.
just
No.
no, it's empty.
To just be Malik. Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, at that point, Erald now has a face to the name, metaphorically speaking. He doesn't actually see the face, but he's got a bone face to go with.
Exactly.
And he'll make his way back to the garrison because he's still getting the sketch eyes from the locals here, and I'm sure if he got himself stabbed in the back alley, no one would really notice the difference. So
who knows, right? Who knows?
yeah.
So back to the garrison again. So what is happening by Bodeville Scoffer's trading house?
Well, once I've searched and seized everything, that looks probably like evidence. I'll take it back. I need to speak with the garrison, and then I need to look into the excavation site.
Yeah.
I don't know what time it is at this point.
It's gonna be. I'm gonna say that it's gonna be a late afternoon, probably, because you've done.
Oh, I've got plenty of time then.
Yeah, you've done a thorough search of Bodeville Scoffer's merchant house. You were going back to the excavation site. Yes. Who would you talk to about that? Because nobody's told you where it would be right now, right?
No, but I want it to go back to the garrison first, and I want to
Right.
talk to them about why they sent soldiers to the pub and to the...
Right. So everybody's back at the garrison again. Yes, the procurator, you will be able to speak to him, of course. Celicia will, as she usually does, immediately occupy Taralese again. Because, oh, gossip! I haven't seen you all day! Where have you been?
Oh,
Not
you
seeing
know,
the sights
going,
because
going
there are no
about
sights
everywhere.
to see.
Although, before they left, she would have mentioned to Torvinder, or rather asked him, have you checked on your slaves recently?
Travinder you haven't found.
Oh, he wasn't there.
No, he wasn't there.
Oh, it's just his clothes you found. Okay.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. Well, you know, just been about town, and of course, and she'll kind of, you know, whisper quietly to her, you know, I think I might have found a date for, those two.
Oh, who would that be?
A certain, he's a real man-eater, really. He's a bit of a privateer, actually. Quite well known amongst the lowlives. I'm sure it will help.
A pirate? So exotic!
Yes.
I am in fact going to give Taralese a fate die for establishing good relations with the procurator and the procurator's wife, because I feel like this probably works towards her destiny. Hobnobbing with the higher ups in society can just help her achieve her objective, I would argue. Yes? No? Maybe so? So I'm gonna give you, in fact, 2, because I'm generous right now. There we go. You've been working hard on getting on their good side, and that seems absolutely appropriate. Meanwhile,
So,
yeah.
Malakai for being a gigolo.
Yep. Meanwhile, of course, when Praanz gets up to the garrison and finally meets the procurator, he is sitting in a chair with a sizable bottle of brandy, kind of lounged back like this. And when you kind of just march in with your military-style boots, your 2 blades and everything, and he's just kind of looking at you and going, Now,
Yep, it's been that kind of day.
so what, pray tell, is the Digitalonga doing on my island?
Looking for stolen cursed weapons.
Right. And I hear from my guards that nothing was found. I got a letter from...
I have information that they're at the excavation.
Excavation? Oh!
I will need
the
some more of your guards to take me there.
The archaeologists. Right.
I also need to know what the hell happened at that camp. Because this town's gone to shit and I've only been here less than 24 hours.
Nothing much. The apothecary botched the zombie. I'm sure he'll have it fixed and sorted by tomorrow.
The apothecary doesn't know what he did.
He's
just he's as affected by the potion as the laborers, and he doesn't drink it. So how badly could he have botched it?
I mean, he's a stupid... He uses his own potions all the time.
I know what an idiot he is, but he's not that much of an idiot. I'm the one that had him sent here.
Could he have perhaps been given an ingredient he's not used to working with?
That is a possibility.
Well, I heard the expedition from the Trasilva Academy left town around sunup this morning. They were headed up away north.
Do you have any kind of location, any direction where they're supposed to be headed? Do you know anybody who does?
I know they stayed at the tavern. Maybe someone down there will know.
Excellent. So then, I have evidence I need to go through.
I don't think there are any blades. I think this is a wild goose chase.
I would not be here if there were no blades. I do not get sent on wild goose chases.
How about you? Let's see. No, we not want to roll some dice again.
Sure.
There we go, Procurator. You roll your water versus his water, or possibly your wind. You get to pick between water and wind in this case.
Which one gives me more dice?
Which one gives you more dice? I think it would be your water. The answer is yes, because it gives you 2 dice.
Okay.
He has more water, in fact. Or does he?
Yeah, he's probably gonna win then. Yeah.
You have a 5 and he has a 5.
He's too drunk to be scared by me.
He is apparently too drunk to be scared by you. You're a bit tired by now, in fact.
I'm exhausted, but that should actually make me more intimidating.
He gets an extra die for that. That's what the point of exhaustion does. So I'm going to roll that one as well. Which didn't help at all. So he's basically standing his ground and saying, I don't think there are any weapons. But you're the aggressor, aren't you? So you actually win that roll-off. He has 4 dice and you have 2 and you win it.
So I lead in real close.
Yeah.
And I say what I said, that I would not be sent here if there were no blades. I do not get sent on wild goose chases. They don't send me for frivolous missions. They send me when something's wrong. They send me to clean up messes. There's a mess here. A nasty one. If you could stay out of your cups long enough, you would see that.
This place is well under control. There is no risk.
Really? Because you've got cannibals running the infirmary, and you've got a rampant infection in the sulfur
What?
camps.
There's no...
And I'm fairly certain they're eating my men.
Cannibals?
Do you not realize that all the druids in the city ran away because they're afraid of what's at the infirmary?
I heard that the druids took the infirm to Holy Spring at the temple.
They took nobody with them.
Oh yeah, all the patients are gone.
They took off. And something is eating my men.
Yeah, fuzzards. They go,
No.
they get drunk, they...
Clean cut feet were left. All that were left of my men. Trust me, I know a few experts on cannibalism.
Animals...
Don't make clean cuts. Now, if you'll stay out of your cups long enough and sober up enough to take me seriously, we can get some work done.
Very well. Do you want the hounds after these guys?
Not yet. There's an Inquisitor here. He needs to find out more information first.
Alright.
And I need somebody who can find that expedition for me.
Right.
Be the hounds.
Well, the hounds can do that.
Excellent.
Erald, are you going up to the Procurator as well? Is that okay?
I'm assuming at this point this is probably where I
Walk in
would
behind
go
that
up.
conversation.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Barú.
Excellent. Here's my Inquisitor. We were just talking about you.
Oh. Context?
Uh-huh.
Cannibals. Or what I have information might be cannibals.
So I went to the infirmary. There's no one there.
I told
Other
you,
than-
they've gone to a holy spring for some kind of medical cure for everyone.
Malik was there.
Yes, it's a Shagolite run place. I suppose he was dusting it or something. He just takes a grog.
Do you know anything of the infirmary being closed?
Yes, the infirm went with the druids and the Shagolites up to the temple. They'll be back.
Not all the infirmed. I have an entire camp full of infirmed.
Because they left before the... We don't have a whole lot of medics around here now, I'm afraid. I'm sure the Marjurans will have a local wise one or what have you who might be able to help. We can ask around for a spell. There must be someone among the locals. But the apothecary tends to all their... He makes healing potions, all that sort of thing. It'll all be sorted out by tomorrow, Colonel.
And if it's not, do I get to hold you personally responsible?
Just absolutely pale.
I think perhaps this is something that we're all rather tired. There's been a lot happening today. I think
Yes,
it will keep
yes.
until the morning. They don't know you're coming.
Why don't I take you out hunting, Colonel? Enjoy the scenery, shoot some animals. I have a horse coming, you know, a beautiful stallion, all the way from Paratorna. The first horse on Arhem, on Marjura. It will be a shining light of civilization, shedding and destroying the darkness of this desolate place.
That's wonderful. I need a room.
Yes, of course. We'll have one set up for you.
She just has absolute bitch face.
Indeed.
She is tired, she is frustrated, and he is drunk and incompetent.
Yep. And that seems like a decent place to put a pause on this, because the next big thing will be the big masquerade ball, unless you want to do something else. Rook.
I was going to see the Moggers.
Yes, indeed, the Moggers. The marsh folk merchants, they are right across from the tavern. And they're, yeah, you have seen marsh folk people before. They are so in a different fantasy world, they would be about halfling size, if you will. They are half humans, half frogs, maybe. Very sort of shiny skin.
Deep ones.
Bulbous eyes, very wide mouths. Well, the deep ones are a little bit more fish-like. These are more frog-like. But they do have the webbed fingers and toes. And the muggers will, of course, open the door when you come and knock on it. These are fairly older, a bit older marsh folks, dressed in very nice clothes, just like Vaudeville Scoffer, though a bit more conservative, not as ostentatious. Still fur-lined cloak and the best LJ silk that money can buy. Berets, they're white, sort of furred berets with nice little tassels and feathers. But also starting to get wrinkles around the eyes and the mouth. Yes, sir. What can we do for you?
It may be the situation that I have something to offer to you. Might I speak to your most elder, and me and my men be allowed to come in?
Let the men stay outside. It looks kind of at the long swords and cutlasses and whatnot.
Alright, lads, stay outside. Malakai would make a very pointed gesture of taking off his oilskin, showing that a boarding axe and a cutlass right at his hip. And he would go in and sit down, cross-legged on the floor, and wait for whoever to talk to him to talk to him.
Yeah, it'll be this gentleman. In fact, another one joins him, looking. It's hard for you to tell them apart. Marsh folk, they're so alien to your human eyes. One of them comes up with a pitcher, pours something that is maybe a bit muddy and sort of lumpy for being a drink. Toddy.
He will choke it down.
It tastes like mud mixed up with some very salty fish.
Lovely.
It's also very strong.
Lovely.
It's also very strong stuff. They fill their pipes with some kind of smoke. Yes, what can we do for you?
If it were to...
Have you come to take a load?
No. It has come to my attention that a downfall of the Shakello may be something you and yours would be interested in.
Sure.
Through completely legal means, I have friends in very many low and high places. If one were to give me any blackmail information of double dealings, anything investigation into this family may find useful, it may help to precipitate your enemy's downfall.
I see. And what, pray tell, would you want in exchange?
This is a simple gesture to build a power structure on your lovely island. Getting to know people, making connections.
I mean, we are certainly interested in new market shares. Blessed be Castique.
Do you have any of this information on your enemies?
We have been trying for a long while, but unfortunately, it is not easy to come by. They, well, one can say that they can easily spot us.
You're a moneylender.
Yes.
Your business, ultimately, at the end of the day, is books.
Yes.
Could you provide a set of books that may cast some aspersion to certain dealings?
We could possibly do that, yes.
I need it before the masquerade ball.
Oh, that will be hard. It takes a time to create such an item.
Mal will hold up a hand, some stolen ring on it, pull it off, drop it in front of him. Would that speed your quill?
Well, it's not a matter of remuneration, it's a matter of the time the craft takes.
How long would it take to produce?
To do it properly and make it look good, it will take at least a few days. It's a comprehensive document we speak of.
Understood. The ring is a token of a hope for future involvement.
The sentiment is appreciated.
I am Captain Malakai Teg. I represent the Queen of Salt and Spray.
Oh, indeed. A most venerable lady. We wish Her Majesty the best.
I will see this reaches her, and upon concluding business, Mal would turn, get with the boys, and go somewhere to actually have fun.
Finally, after an intense day. What is Taralese's final action for the day? To round it up before the masquerade ball.
She's certainly gonna get with Nin and let her know about that little raid that her associate did.
Yes.
See if there's anything interesting there, particularly involving the Shagalites, or any of the names associated with the Shagalites.
Nina's a bit surprised that you start poking the Shagalites. What do they have to do with this? Do you think they are smuggling the weapons? Maybe they are.
They're certainly making power plays here. Whether it's the weapons themselves, I don't know, but I'm just looking for anything.
What would Shagalites want with weapons, though? They're a religious group.
I'm not certain. I suppose that's something for us to find out. No?
Absolutely.
And if nothing else, it's leverage.
I like leverage.
Of course you do. We all do. Speaking of which, I think we need to help a certain someone relax a little and do her hair.
Yes. Did you bring a wig? She will be so happy if you gave her a wig.
Oh, I brought several, dear.
And so the preparations for the masquerade ball commences. And we shall find out in a couple of weeks how that particular event unfolds. Yeah, that's basically what we have time for tonight.
Quick question.
Yes, indeed.
Can you open my character sheet?
I can.
temporary goal.
Yes.
Smugglers, ladies of ill repute.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
I covered my bases.
You did indeed. Yes, you have gained yourself a fate die this evening. Did anyone else want to check that as well? We could do that in Discord too, but we can do it now as well. Praanz, you have...
I think that I've covered it so far.
You've covered it so far this session, absolutely. That gives you a fate die. Taralese, I think you've found, though you completed your objective well enough. Find the one who has access to the best accommodations and goods. You have done that. And Erald, investigate. Well, you haven't actually investigated the magical aura that much, but you have found some leads on the Shagalites, so I'll give you a fate die for that. All right, that's where we're at.
And before we go, just to add insult to injury to poor Praanz, she will go ask Sin's character for a dress.
Oh, hair, makeup. It's
She has
the
everything.
full makeup
Yeah.
montage.
not normally her thing, but she's here on military missions. She does not have a ball gown.
This is true.
I
That
do
works.
have a personal side quest for next.
Yeah.
Malakai has to be the belle of the ball.
Oh, don't worry. He's going to be walking in with 2 bells on each arm.
That's gonna be a ball to remember.
Friends is just going to be as uncomfortable as possible.
Probably.
The cannibal who came to dinner.
I like it.
All right. Well,
It has been an absolute joy.
Yes, it's been lovely. Thank
see
you.
everyone in
Thank you.
2 weeks, and we will start the Game of Shadows now. The board game starts, but that happens in Discord, and I will report the results over our channels and on our actual plays as well. All right, everyone. Thank you for watching, listening, whatever you do, and see you soon again.
Night, folks.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a great night, folks.